Welcome to Mystery Bedtime Stories. Where in the world are you listening from tonight? If you enjoy these mysterious bedtime stories, don't forget to subscribe. It helps more dreamers find their way here. Now get comfortable, close your eyes, and let your thoughts drift away. I hope you enjoy the story. In the golden embrace of a late summer afternoon, the fields of Woolpit lay stretched beneath a gentle sun, their wheat heads swaying like a sea of soft gold. The air hummed with the sounds of reapers at work, their scythes whispering through the stubble, the rhythmic crunch beneath their feet harmonizing with the distant mellow peal of church bells from Bury St. Edmunds Abbey. A soft breeze danced among the villagers, lifting the scent of earth and grain, weaving through the warmth of the day, creating an atmosphere that felt both serene and alive. As the sun dipped lower, casting elongated shadows across the land, the reapers paused, casting their gaze toward the edge of Woolpit Wood, where the underbrush thickened and brambles tangled like forgotten secrets. It was there, at the mouth of an ancient wolf pit, that a curious stir drew the attention of the villagers. A moment of shared wonder passed between them, a silent question lacing the air. What lay hidden in the depths of that shadowy opening? With cautious steps, two small figures emerged from the cool darkness, the children's forms hesitating at the precipice. A boy and a girl, their skin a soft, mossy green, looked out with wide, uncertain eyes that shimmered with both fear and a flicker of curiosity. The villagers, captivated yet unsettled, felt a collective breath catch in their throats, the sight both enchanting and otherworldly. The children's clothing, unlike any seen before, draped loosely around their small frames, whispering of distant lands and stories untold. "Who are they?" an elder murmured, brow furrowed in intrigue. As the boy instinctively clutched his sister's hand, the villagers took a tentative step forward. Their hearts echoed with kindness, a gentle urge to bridge the chasm of difference that loomed between them. The children recoiled slightly, a faint tremor of trepidation passing through their small bodies. Yet the villagers' expressions softened, faces bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, exuding a tender curiosity rather than fear. One farmer knelt, offering a rough-hewn bowl of bread, his voice low and soothing. "It's safe. It's for you," he coaxed, though the words sailed over the children's heads, lost in the language barrier that separated them. The boy hid behind his sister, gazing out from the safety of her shadow. The villagers exchanged glances, an unspoken understanding forming. They would not frighten these fragile new souls. They would welcome them, offering warmth and compassion where there had been only confusion. The day faded into twilight, the sun's last rays spilling gold across the horizon, illuminating the children's faces in a soft, ethereal light. The distant chime of bells faded into the hush of the evening, leaving behind a lingering sense of mystery. As the children stood at the threshold of their new life, the villagers could sense that they were witnesses to something profound, a moment that would weave itself into the very fabric of Woolpit's lore. A gentle tension hung in the air, a whisper of questions yet to be answered, as the children took their first tentative steps towards the warmth of human kindness, their pasts shrouded in the enigmatic shadows of the Woolpit. The twilight deepened around the edge of Woolpit Wood, casting a veil of soft indigo over the gathering villagers. The air, once filled with the golden warmth of summer, now held a cool caress, rich with the scent of damp earth and the fading sweetness of ripe grain. Shadows stretched across the ground, merging with the hushed whispers of awe and wonder that floated among the people, their eyes fixed upon the two fragile figures at the edge of the wolf pit. As the villagers drew closer, their movements were slow and deliberate, each step a soft promise of safety. The children stood at the threshold of the known and the unknown, their mossy skin glimmering faintly in the dimming light, a delicate reminder of the mystery that enveloped them. The boy, with wide, fearful eyes, clutched his sister's hand as if it were a lifeline, seeking solace in her presence as the villagers edged nearer, their hearts warmed by a shared resolve to reach out. "Come closer," a gentle voice called, swirling softly through the air like a breeze. "We mean you no harm." The soothing timbre of the words wrapped around the children, an invitation woven with sincerity. Yet the children remained still, shadows flickering across their faces, uncertainty flickering in their gaze. The villagers paused, sensing the fragile tension, their collective breath held in a moment of quiet understanding. A woman stepped forward, her hands outstretched, palms open in a gesture of peace, the coarse fabric of her simple dress rustling softly against her legs. The sun kissed her face with its last golden rays, illuminating the warmth in her smile as she knelt upon the earth, lowering herself to their level. "It's all right, little ones," she whispered, her voice barely above the rustling leaves. "We are friends." For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. The children hesitated, the boy peeking from behind his sister, his wide eyes reflecting the flickering uncertainty of newfound trust. The villagers stood still, an ocean of kindness waiting patiently, their hearts woven together in a tapestry of compassion. The evening air hummed with the soft sounds of crickets awakening, their song a backdrop to this moment of fragile hope. With a tentative step, the girl moved forward, her small feet brushing against the cool blades of grass. The warmth of the villagers' presence enveloped her, a soft glow in the encroaching dusk. She looked up, meeting the kind eyes of the woman who knelt before her, and a flicker of recognition sparked within. It was a simple gesture, but it carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken words, a bond forming in the stillness of the evening. In that moment, the boy let go of his sister's hand, emboldened by her courage. He took a step forward, his breath shaky yet filled with a hint of curiosity. The villagers, sensing the shift, held their breath, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. It was as if the very air around them shimmered, charged with the promise of connection, of understanding, and of the gentle embrace of a new beginning. With each cautious advance, the children felt the warmth of the villagers' kindness wrap around them like a soft cocoon, easing the fears that had clung to their small hearts. The boy reached out, fingers brushing against the rough wood of a bowl offered by a farmer. The scent of fresh bread wafting up to greet them, inviting and fragrant. "See," the farmer murmured, his voice low and soothing, as if coaxing a shy bird from its nest. "It's safe. It's for you." The children exchanged a glance, a silent conversation passing between them, a gentle agreement that perhaps, just perhaps, they could trust these new faces. The soft light of the setting sun spilled across the villagers' upturned faces, illuminating the kindness etched in their expressions. And the children took a step closer, curiosity mingling with caution. As the last light of day began to fade, casting long shadows behind them, the children moved toward the warmth of the villagers, drawn by an instinct deeper than fear. The soft whisper of the evening breeze carried the distant echoes of bell chimes, a melody that seemed to beckon them forward, guiding them into the welcoming embrace of Woolpit. Here, among the gentle souls of the village, the tension of the past began to dissolve, replaced by the tender promise of belonging. A promise that would weave their fates together in ways yet unseen. The hearth at Wyke's Manor crackled softly, casting its warm glow across the stone walls, which seemed to sigh in relief against the chill of the evening air. Shadows danced playfully, flickering against the heavy timber beams overhead, as if the very essence of the manor breathed in unison with the children nestled in their woolen blankets. The aroma of wood smoke mingled with the earthy scent of the stew simmering gently in a pot, creating a cocoon of comfort that enveloped them like a soft embrace. The children sat side by side on a sturdy oak chair, their small frames still trembling slightly from the day's bewildering events. Though the warmth of the fire kissed their cheeks, a faint green hue lingered in their skin, a subtle reminder of the mystery that had brought them here. The girl, her wide eyes reflecting the flickering flames, marveled at the unfamiliar surroundings, her heart thrumming with an odd mixture of fear and curiosity. Beside her, the boy leaned in closer, seeking the solace of her presence, his small fingers entwined in hers, as if they shared a secret only they could understand. Sir Richard de Calne, a kind man with a weathered face that held the stories of many seasons, approached them with a gentle smile. His voice, deep and soothing, broke through the quiet murmur of the hearth. "You are safe here, little ones. This is your home now." The children listened, though the words wrapped around them like a warm blanket. They didn't yet grasp their meaning. They exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them, filled with unspoken questions and flickers of hope. Servants moved quietly around the hall, their steps soft against the stone floor, busying themselves with preparations. A maidservant, her brown hair tied back neatly, approached with a plate of cooked vegetables and bread, the steam rising in delicate tendrils. But as she offered it to the children, they recoiled instinctively, their faces clouded with confusion. The food, so beautifully prepared, seemed foreign to them, an unfathomable ritual of flavors they had yet to understand. Sir Richard, observing their hesitation, knelt beside them, his presence steady and reassuring. "Let them have their fill of beans," he said gently, nodding toward a wicker basket resting by the door, filled with freshly picked green pods. The children's eyes widened, a glimmer of recognition sparking in their expressions. The boy's grip on his sister's hand relaxed, and he dared to lean forward, curiosity pulling him closer to the basket. With a shared glance, the girl nodded, her heart racing with the thrill of this small, yet monumental decision. As they reached for the raw beans, their fingers brushed against the cool, smooth pods, a simple connection that spoke volumes. The moment they bit into the tender skins, a smile broke across their faces, illuminating the shadows of uncertainty. Juicy, crisp, and sweet, the beans were a taste of something familiar, a fleeting reminder of the life they had known in that twilight land, where the sun never truly rose. The room filled with the soft sounds of crunching, the children savoring each bite, their initial trepidation melting like the last remnants of the day's light. Sir Richard watched, his heart swelling with a quiet joy, as if he were witnessing the birth of a fragile hope. The other villagers, drawn to the warmth of the hearth, exchanged glances filled with wonder, their faces softening with the realization that these children could indeed find comfort and belonging amongst them. Outside, a gentle wind rustled the leaves of the ancient oak trees that encircled the manor, whispering secrets of time and memory. Inside, the atmosphere shifted, a palpable warmth wrapping around the small group as laughter bubbled up from the children, filling the hall with an unexpected lightness. In that cozy, fire-lit space, the lingering tension of their arrival began to dissolve, replaced by the promise of understanding and kinship. As the evening deepened and the stars began to twinkle in the indigo sky beyond the small windows, the children nestled closer, the comfort of the hearth drawing them into a peaceful lull. Surrounded by the gentle heartbeat of life at Wyke's Manor, they felt the weight of the past lift slightly, allowing room for the soft glow of a new beginning. The echoes of their old world faded, woven into the fabric of their memories, while a new story began to unfurl, one filled with the warmth of hearth and home, and the tender promise of belonging. A soft haze enveloped Wyke's Manor as the fire crackled gently in the hearth, its flickering light painting warm shadows across the stone walls. The children, nestled in their blankets, were lulled by the soothing sounds of the evening, the murmurs of the villagers outside fading into the distance as they drifted toward sleep. Yet, in the stillness of the night, something stirred within the girl's heart, a longing for a memory that felt both distant and immediate. As her eyelids fluttered closed, the world around her began to dissolve, giving way to a dreamlike vision. She found herself standing in a land where twilight reigned eternally, where the sun seemed to hang just beyond the horizon, casting a soft, muted glow over everything. The air was rich with the scent of damp earth and wildflowers, a fragrant melody that danced around her like a gentle breeze. Here, the weight of her fears melted away, replaced by an ethereal serenity that wrapped around her like a familiar embrace. Beside her, the boy stood, his small hand clasped tightly within hers, their fingers entwined as if they were two branches of the same tree, rooted in a world beyond comprehension. In this twilight realm, the grass shimmered with a silvery hue, and the trees whispered secrets to one another, their leaves rustling softly in the stillness. The landscape seemed to pulse with life, a gentle heartbeat that resonated through the air, inviting them to explore. As they wandered through this enchanted world, the girl heard a distant sound, a melody that twinkled in the air like the first stars of evening. It was the sound of bells, sweet and resonant, echoing through the hills and valleys. The children looked at one another, a shared spark of curiosity igniting between them. Drawn by the enchanting peal, they began to follow the sound, their small feet padding softly across the lush, verdant ground. The landscape shifted, and they found themselves standing before a cave, its entrance dark and inviting, like a doorway into a secret world. The air was cool and fragrant, filled with the earthy scent of moss and stone. As they stepped inside, a sense of wonder enveloped them, the walls of the cave shimmering faintly in the twilight glow. The sound of the bells grew louder, guiding them deeper into the heart of the cavern, their soft chimes resonating like whispers of forgotten tales. Hand in hand, they ventured forth, their hearts quickening with excitement. The cave was alive with the soft echoes of their footsteps, each step resonating with the promise of discovery. As they moved further into the darkness, the twinkling sound of the bells enveloped them, weaving through the shadows like a silver thread, leading them ever onward. And then, just as they reached the heart of the cave, a blinding light erupted before them, a golden burst of sunlight that flooded the chamber with warmth and brilliance. The children squinted against the sudden radiance, instinctively shielding their eyes as the luminous glow enveloped them, filling their senses with a dazzling warmth. It was a light unlike any they had known, bright and pure, yet not harsh. It was awakening. The girl felt herself being gently pulled, the warmth of the light beckoning her forward, urging her to step beyond the threshold of the cave. A soft gasp escaped her lips as she and her brother emerged into the bright world beyond, the sun's rays spilling over them like a cascade of golden warmth. But as they stepped into the light, everything shifted, the shimmering landscape fading slowly, replaced by the familiar embrace of the manor's hearth. With a start, the girl awoke, her heart racing, the vivid images of St. Martin's Land still echoing in her mind. She lay in the gentle glow of the fire, the warmth of the flames dancing on her skin. The memories of the twilight world lingered like a soft fragrance, a reminder of something profound. The bells, they had called to her, guiding her toward the unknown. For a moment, the weight of her new life settled like a comforting blanket over her, yet the echoes of her homeland whispered in her heart, threading together the fabric of her past and present. What had she left behind, and what stories lingered unsaid? As the shadows of night deepened outside the manor, the girl felt a gentle tug of longing, a promise that the mysteries of both worlds intertwined, waiting to be unraveled in the soft light of dawn. Drifting back into the warmth of sleep, she embraced the questions swirling in her mind. She would share her tale one day, perhaps. The story of her home would weave itself into the fabric of Woolpit, a tapestry of twilight and hope, echoing softly through the hearts of those who listened. And as the night deepened, the stars outside twinkled like distant bells, beckoning her to dream anew. The morning light filtered softly through the small leaded windows of Wyke's Manor, casting a gentle glow upon the rough-hewn beams and stone walls. A cool breeze wafted through the cracks, carrying with it the fresh scent of dew-drenched grass and the distant sound of church bells tolling in the village. Outside, the world stirred to life, but inside the manor, a stillness hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths and a bittersweet weight. The boy lay in a simple wooden bed, the sheets pulled up around him, his small frame appearing fragile beneath the coarse fabric. The girl sat beside him, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her wide eyes tracing the lines of worry etched across Sir Richard's face as he watched over them. The flickering candlelight danced across the room, casting shadows that seemed to shift and sway, echoing the turmoil within her heart. Days had turned to weeks since their arrival, and while the girl had begun to adapt, her brother seemed to wither like a flower deprived of sunlight. Despite the nourishing beans and the kindness of the villagers, something unseen held him fast, a shadow that eclipsed their shared hope. The girl felt it, a tightening in her chest, as if the very air around her had grown thick with an unshakable dread. "Please, eat," she whispered, her voice trembling as she leaned closer, hoping to coax him back to the world of warmth and laughter they had begun to know. She remembered the days when they had first tasted the raw beans, the joy that illuminated their faces, filling the manor with echoes of laughter. But now, her brother merely turned his head away, his eyes glazed with a distant sorrow that made her heart ache. Sir Richard knelt beside the bed, his expression softening as he offered gentle words of encouragement. "You are safe here, my boy. You have a family now, and we care for you," he said. But the boy's gaze drifted beyond the walls, lost in realms unseen, where the bells of St. Martin's Land still beckoned him home. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, illuminating the small room with a golden hue, the girl's heart sank deeper. The villagers moved about their daily tasks, laughter and chatter floating through the open door, but she felt a profound isolation, as if a veil separated her from the life that pulsed vibrantly outside. She longed for her brother to awaken, to share in those moments of joy again. Yet the vibrant world seemed to fade into a distant murmur, swallowed by the weight of her worry. Days passed, each one a gentle reminder of the passage of time, and as the evening shadows lengthened, the boy's strength began to wane. The green tint of his skin, once a soft, mossy hue, had dulled to a pallid shade, and his fragile breaths came in shallow gasps. The girl sat resolutely by his side, her small hand enveloping his, whispering stories of their twilight homeland, weaving the threads of memory into a tapestry of comfort. "Remember the fields, brother," she murmured, her voice a soothing balm against the encroaching darkness. The grass shimmered like silver under the twilight sky, and the sheep danced in the soft glow of the bells. They called to us, drawing us home. Her words hung in the air, fragile yet insistent, a bridge between their past and present. But as the night deepened, the boys' breaths grew shallower, each one a fading echo of the laughter they once shared. The girl felt the warmth of his hand slip from hers, a quiet surrender as he drifted away, the flicker of life extinguished as softly as a candle in the wind. "He's gone," she whispered, the weight of grief crashing over her like a storm, a tide of sorrow that pulled her under. In that moment, the world felt impossibly still. The gentle crackle of the hearth and the distant sounds of the village faded to a whisper, leaving her alone in the echoing silence of loss. Tears streamed down her cheeks, glistening like morning dew, as she clutched her brother's lifeless hand, the warmth of their shared connection slipping away into the ether. Yet within that profound sadness, A spark of resilience ignited within her heart. She could feel the pulse of life surrounding her, the embrace of the villagers who had opened their arms to them, and the flickering promise of a new beginning. Slowly, she wiped the tears from her cheeks and took a deep breath, steadying herself against the tide of grief that threatened to engulf her. In the days that followed, the girl began to navigate the quiet space left by her brother's absence. The villagers wrapped her in their kindness, offering comfort and warmth, and with each passing day, the vibrant hue of her green skin began to fade, transforming into the rosy glow of life renewed. She learned to find joy in the simple things, the laughter of children playing in the sunlight, the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the manor, and the soft caress of the evening breeze. With time, the stories of her homeland became a cherished memory, woven into the fabric of her new life, a gentle reminder of where she had come from and the love she had lost. And though the shadows of grief lingered, she felt the warmth of hope beginning to take root within her, a promise that she could carry both the light and the dark, forging a path forward. As the seasons turned, she would step into the fields of Woolpit, her heart swelling with the echoes of laughter and the whispers of the past. In those moments, she would remember the boy who had once held her hand, and though he was gone, his spirit would remain a soft light guiding her through the twilight of her own story. A story still waiting to unfold beneath the stars. As the seasons unfurled gently across the fields of Woolpit, the village transformed beneath a soft tapestry of colors and textures. Each dawn brought with it a fresh promise, the sky painted in delicate pastels, while the warm sun cast a golden glow upon the earth, awakening life anew. The girl, once a stranger, now moved among the villagers like a wisp of wind, her presence becoming woven into the very fabric of daily life. In spring, she learned the art of planting, her fingers digging into the rich, dark soil alongside the farmers. The earth felt alive beneath her touch. Each seed she nestled into the ground, a whisper of hope for the future. She marveled at the way the villagers spoke to their crops, coaxing them to grow with words as soft as the gentle breeze that danced through the fields. Laughter echoed around her, mingling with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers. And for the first time, the weight of her past felt lighter, a mere shadow trailing behind her. Summer arrived, bringing with it the rich, golden hues of ripening wheat. The girl would often be found at the edge of the fields, her hair kissed by the sun, gathering the laughter of children as they played. The villagers embraced her, folding her into their stories, their traditions, and their laughter. The children, curious and unburdened by the weight of differences, would tug at her sleeves, calling her to join their games. She became one of them, her laughter ringing out like the chimes of distant bells, every note a reminder of the joy she had sought in her new home. As the days turned to weeks, her skin began to change, the green hue fading away like the last light of day, replaced by a healthy glow that mirrored the rosy warmth of her companions. Yet, even as her appearance shifted, the essence of her past lingered in her heart, a gentle reminder of the twilight land that had birthed her, of the brother she had lost, and of the bells that had called her to this life anew. Autumn painted the village in shades of amber and crimson, the air crisp with the scent of falling leaves. The girl found herself drawn to the stories shared around the hearth, the flickering flames casting playful shadows on the walls. Villagers gathered close, their voices weaving tales of old, of heroes and legends, of love and loss. With each story told, she felt the threads of her own narrative intertwine with theirs, a tapestry rich with the colors of her journey. The villagers would often ask her about her homeland, their eyes wide with wonder as she spoke of St. Martin's Land, a place where twilight lingered and the air thrummed with the soft sounds of distant bells. Her voice would soften as she described the rolling hills, the silvery streams, and the gentle creatures that roamed beneath the dim sky. They listened, entranced by her words, as if she were conjuring a world just beyond their reach, a realm that danced on the edge of dreams. In the evenings, she would often wander to the edge of the fields, where the horizon kissed the sky, and the stars began to twinkle like scattered gems. The soft rustle of the leaves whispered secrets of the past, and the cool breeze wrapped around her like a familiar cloak. It was here that she felt the lingering presence of her brother, a gentle warmth in her heart that reminded her she was never truly alone. She would close her eyes, listening for the echo of bells, the melody of their distant chimes resonating deep within her soul, drawing her back to the simplicity of their shared laughter. As winter approached, a blanket of snow covered the village, transforming the fields into a serene landscape of quiet beauty. The girl bundled herself in a warm cloak, her breath visible in the frosty air, and ventured out to join the villagers in their festive preparations. The laughter of children rang out like joyous bells, and she felt a swell of gratitude for the life she had found in Woolpit, one where kindness had mended the fractures of her heart. Through the long winter nights, she would gather with the villagers by the fire, sharing stories, songs, and the warmth of companionship. They would speak of the green girl who had come from a land of twilight, and with each retelling, her presence became a cherished part of the village's lore. She was no longer simply a newcomer. She had become a gentle legend, intertwined with the hearts and minds of those who had welcomed her with open arms. Yet beneath the warmth of her newfound life, a quiet tension lingered, an unshakable sense of wonder about the world beyond Woolpit. The memories of St. Martin's Land shimmered in her mind, an elusive dreamscape that beckoned her to remember, to seek, to explore the depths of her own story. And as the bells of the village chimed softly in the distance, echoing the call of a past she could not forget, she felt a yearning to bridge the worlds she straddled, one foot planted firmly in the soil of Woolpit, and the other reaching toward the twilight land that still whispered her name. With each passing day, the girl embraced the rhythm of life in Woolpit, where the seasons turned like pages of a cherished book, and the warmth of community wrapped around her like a familiar song. But in the quiet moments, when the stars twinkled in the velvet sky, she felt the gentle tug of mystery still pulling at her heart, a reminder that the story of the green children was not yet complete. It lingered, waiting to unfold, like the first light of dawn breaking softly upon the horizon. promising new beginnings and the whispers of adventures yet to come. In the soft embrace of a chilly twilight, the village of Woolpit gathered as it had so many times before, the air thick with the scent of wood smoke and the distant murmur of laughter. The flickering glow of lanterns cast a warm halo around the small assembly, illuminating the faces of those who had come to remember and celebrate the tale of the Green Girl, a story that had woven itself into the very fabric of their lives. Seated upon a sturdy wooden bench, the villagers leaned in close, their breath mingling in the cool evening air, creating gentle puffs of mist that danced like tiny spirits. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices a soothing chorus that wrapped around the gathering like a comforting shawl. It was a ritual, this sharing of stories, a way to honor the past and keep the memory of the Green Girl alive, even as the stars blinked above like the distant bells of St. Martin's Land. Old Thomas, a wrinkled man with a beard as white as the snow that had fallen just days before, began to recount the tale with a tender nostalgia. "Ah, the Green Girl," he said, his voice low and resonant, a grounding presence amid the whispers. "She arrived in our midst one fateful summer, emerging from the depths of that ancient wolf pit. Can you remember her wide eyes, sparkling with wonder and fear?" The villagers nodded, their expressions softening as they conjured memories of her arrival, the way she had stood at the edge of the known world, a delicate figure draped in strange clothing, skin glimmering with the hue of moss, filled with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity. It was a moment that had stitched itself into the tapestry of their lives, a wonder that unfurled like the petals of a bloom at dawn. "She was a child of twilight, wasn't she?" a woman replied, her voice lilting with affection. Her laughter echoed through our fields, a sound like the sweetest chimes, reminding us of the beauty that lies in the unknown. As they spoke, the warmth of the fire flickered in their eyes, illuminating the shared memories that had formed a bridge between their worlds and hers. The villagers took turns weaving in and out of the tale, recounting the Green Girl's laughter as she learned to plant beans in the soil, her small hands digging into the earth with an eagerness that belied her past. Each retelling felt like a balm, soothing the weariness of the years, drawing them closer together in a shared embrace of reverence. Yet, amid the warmth and camaraderie, there lingered a gentle tension, a quiet longing for the mysteries that still surrounded her story. What had become of the brother, they wondered? What secrets lay hidden in the fabric of St. Martin's Land? The questions tumbled softly in the air, like fallen leaves swirling in the crisp autumn breeze, each one a reminder of the boundaries that still existed between their worlds. "Do you think she ever remembers?" a young girl asked, her eyes wide with wonder. The land she came from, the sound of those bells. A hush fell over the crowd, the flickering flames casting shadows that danced like memories lost in time. They exchanged glances, a silent acknowledgement of the threads that bound them to the Green Girl's past. "Perhaps she carries it within her," Thomas replied, a note of reverence in his voice. "A part of her, ever entwined with the twilight and the distant echoes of home." As the evening deepened, the villagers shared tales of their own lives, how they had flourished in the embrace of the Green Girl's spirit, how her laughter had infused their days with light. Each story became a thread in the tapestry of their collective memory, a gentle reminder that the past, while shrouded in mystery, could still live on in the hearts of those who chose to remember. And as the night stretched on, the stars twinkling like distant bells in the velvety sky, the villagers settled into a soft silence, enveloped by the warmth of their gathering. They felt a sense of peace, a quiet understanding that while the green girl had emerged from the unknown, she had not vanished into it. Instead, she had become a part of Woolpit's very soul, her story woven into the whispers of the wind and the rhythms of the seasons. In that tranquil moment, the boundaries between the past and present began to blur, and the villagers felt a connection to something greater. Perhaps, they mused, the green girl still wandered in the twilight, watching over them, her spirit entwined with the bells that rang softly in the distance. And in the quiet of that night, as the last echoes of their laughter faded into the gentle embrace of starlight, they knew that her story would endure. An open-ended mystery, a soothing lullaby that would cradle them in dreams of wonder and possibility. In the stillness of night, a gentle hush enveloped the village of Woolpit, wrapping it in a tender embrace of shadows and soft moonlight. The stars twinkled above like distant, watchful eyes, their brilliance spilling across the velvety sky, casting a serene glow upon the fields that had once cradled the green children. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of earth and wood smoke, as if the very essence of the land whispered secrets into the cool night. Within the heart of the village, the flickering light of candles danced in the windows of Wyke's Manor, illuminating the faces of those gathered inside. The hearth crackled softly, its warm glow inviting a sense of comfort and belonging. Yet, amidst the laughter and warmth, an undercurrent of curiosity wove through the air, gently tugging at the hearts of the villagers. They had come together not just to celebrate, but to share the echoes of a story that had become a cherished part of their lives, the tale of the green girl and her brother, those fragile figures who had emerged from the shadows of the wolf pit. As the stories unfolded, each villager took their turn, their voices intertwining like the threads of a tapestry. They spoke of the girl's laughter, the way it had once danced through the fields, brightening the long summer days. They recalled her wide eyes, filled with awe as she learned about the world around her, the warmth of the sun, the texture of the soil, and the laughter of children who had welcomed her with open hearts. Yet, as the evening deepened, a palpable sense of wonder settled over the gathering. The villagers began to ponder, softly and slowly, the questions that lingered like the last notes of a song. Was St. Martin's Land still out there, shrouded in twilight, waiting for its lost children to return? Did the bells that had called the green children resonate still, echoing through the hills and valleys, beckoning to those who dared to listen? "Imagine," a young girl said, her voice barely above a whisper, "if we could find the way back to where they came from. Would the land be as she described, forever caught in a soft, gentle dusk?" The flames flickered in response, casting playful shadows on the walls, as if the very fire shared in their wonder. The villagers exchanged glances, their hearts swelling with the warmth of shared imaginings. What lay beyond their familiar horizons, just out of reach? What secrets did the night hold? Perhaps, an elder mused, the green girl carries that land within her, a memory woven into her very essence. And in her laughter, we hear the echoes of a world where the sun never truly rises. The gentle sound of crickets serenaded the night, their rhythmic chirps creating a melody that wove through the air, mingling with the soft rustle of leaves. The villagers listened, captivated by the idea that the green girl had not only become one of them, but had also brought a piece of her home to Woolpit, a twilight song that would forever resonate, a reminder of the beauty that lay in the unknown. As the stories continued to unfold, the villagers found themselves lost in their own reflections. They pondered the nature of belonging, the threads that bound them together, and the mysteries that danced just beyond their understanding. They began to share their own dreams and aspirations, their hopes for the future intertwined with the memories of the past. "What if," a boy suggested, "the bells called to us too, guiding us to discover our own hidden wonders?" Laughter mingled with thoughtful silence, and for a moment, the night felt alive with possibility. The stars shimmered overhead, twinkling like distant lanterns, as if encouraging them to dream beyond the bounds of their reality. The villagers could almost hear the distant chimes, echoing softly through the air, urging them to explore, to seek, to find the magic that lay hidden in their own lives. And so, as the evening wore on, the villagers of Woolpit shared their tales and dreams, weaving together the threads of their lives, creating a tapestry rich with warmth and wonder. The girl who had once emerged from the shadows of the wolf pit became a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the beauty that could be found in strange and unexpected places. As the candles flickered low and the night deepened, the stories began to drift into a peaceful hush, the villagers finding solace in the shared warmth of their memories. Outside, the moon cast its gentle glow upon the fields, illuminating the path that had once led the green children to Woolpit, a path that still whispered of mysteries yet to be uncovered. In that quiet moment, beneath the vast expanse of stars, the villagers felt a profound connection to one another, a unity forged in kindness and understanding. The questions remained. Where had the green children come from, and what lay beyond the veil of their own world? Yet, as they nestled into the comforting embrace of their stories, they understood that some mysteries were meant to be savored, like a gentle lullaby that lingered in the heart, long after the last note had faded. And so, wrapped in the warmth of their gathering, they let the night cradle their dreams, allowing the echoes of the green children's tale to weave their own stories of wonder, keeping the memory alive beneath the twinkling stars, where the boundaries of reality and imagination gently blurred, inviting all to dream of worlds yet unknown. The village of Woolpit lay cloaked in the tender embrace of dusk, the sky awash with soft hues of lavender and gold, as the day surrendered to the enchanting allure of night. The air was cool and fragrant, tinged with the scent of ripe apples and the earthy musk of fallen leaves. The whispers of evening floated through the trees, the gentle rustle of branches mingling with the distant melodic chime of church bells, their sound wrapping around the village like a comforting shawl. As the villagers settled into the rhythm of twilight, the girl often found herself wandering to the edge of the fields, where the last remnants of sunlight danced upon the rippling wheat, casting a golden glow that felt both familiar and haunting. It was a sacred place for her, a quiet sanctuary where she could weave the fragments of her two worlds together, the memory of St. Martin's Land and the warmth of Woolpit's embrace. Standing there, she would close her eyes and listen, the sounds of her new home mingling with echoes of the distant bells that had once drawn her and her brother from the shadows. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, a curious feeling began to unfurl within her, a gentle pull, a soft whisper urging her to seek out the heart of the mystery that still lingered in the air, like the sweet scent of blooming flowers wrapping around her heart. The villagers spoke of her with reverence, but in the hushed tones that accompanied tales of wonder, she sensed a longing for resolution, an ache to know more about the world she had left behind. One evening, as the first stars began to twinkle like scattered jewels in the vast expanse above, she wandered to the edge of Woolpit Wood, where the underbrush thickened and shadows danced in the fading light. There, the remnants of her brother's laughter echoed in her mind, a bittersweet melody that pulled her closer to the secrets hidden beneath the earth. It was a place of stories, where the whispers of the past lingered like the last notes of a lullaby, waiting patiently for her to listen. As she stepped deeper into the grove, the cool air wrapped around her like a cloak, and the soft crunch of twigs beneath her feet filled the silence with gentle purpose. Her heart raced with anticipation as she approached the ancient wolf pit, its dark mouth gaping like an invitation to the unknown. She could feel the soft pulse of the earth beneath her, a heartbeat that resonated with the mysteries that lay just out of reach. Pausing at the edge, she peered into the cool darkness, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and the faint echo of distant bells. The pull was stronger here, a gentle tug urging her to remember, to explore the boundaries of her own story. With cautious resolve, she knelt by the pit, brushing her fingers against the cool stones that lined its edge, feeling a connection to the land that had once cradled her. "Are you there?" she whispered into the darkness, her voice barely a murmur against the soft rustling of the leaves. "Are you waiting for me?" For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath, the stillness wrapping around her like a cocoon. Then a breeze swept through the grove, carrying with it the faintest whisper, a sound so delicate it could have been the rustle of leaves or the echo of her own heart. In that moment, she felt the presence of something greater, a gentle force that connected her to the twilight land she had known and to the villagers who had welcomed her into their hearts. As the wind began to settle, she closed her eyes, allowing the memories of her homeland to wash over her. A place filled with the soft glow of twilight, where the sun never fully rose, and the air was alive with the sound of bells calling her home. The echoes of laughter and the soft bleating of sheep filled her mind, and she could almost see her brother beside her, his eyes bright with wonder. But as quickly as the vision came, it began to fade, leaving her standing alone at the edge of the pit, the weight of longing settling heavily in her chest. She felt the tension of unanswered questions swirling within her, a longing to bridge the gap between her past and the present. What lay beyond the veil of her memories? What secrets did the wolf pit hold, waiting for her to uncover? With a deep breath, she stood and turned back toward the village, her heart swelling with a newfound sense of purpose. She would share her story, the threads of her past woven into the fabric of Woolpit, creating a tapestry rich with mystery and belonging. The villagers had embraced her as one of their own, and now it was her turn to honor the bonds that had formed and to seek the truth of her origins, wherever it may lead. As she made her way back, the stars above shimmered like distant bells, a reminder that the mysteries of her life were not meant to be solved alone. She felt the gentle warmth of the community surrounding her, their kindness a guiding light in the encroaching darkness. And with each step, she carried the whispers of her past and the promise of a future, knowing that the journey was just beginning. A journey that would illuminate the hidden pathways of her heart and soul, leading her ever closer to the truth of who she was meant to be. The chill of the autumn evening enveloped Woolpit, wrapping the village in a soft embrace of stillness, the moon hanging low in the sky like a watchful guardian. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of earth and wood smoke, while the faint rustle of fallen leaves whispered secrets beneath the trees. The gentle glow of lanterns flickered in the windows of Wyke's Manor, casting a warm, inviting light that beckoned to those who ventured near. Inside, the hearth crackled softly, its flames dancing in a symphony of amber and gold. The villagers had gathered once more, drawn together by the enduring tale of the Green Girl, their hearts entwined in the shared fabric of memory and wonder. As they settled into the cozy space, a familiar sense of reverence hung in the air, a gentle acknowledgement of the mystery that had woven itself into their lives. The girl, now a young woman, sat among them, her presence a comforting reminder of the past. Her skin, once a soft green, had transformed into the warm hues of human life, yet the echoes of her origins lingered in her eyes, which still sparkled with the secrets of St. Martin's Land. She listened as the villagers recounted her story, their voices a tender lullaby that wrapped around her like a beloved blanket. Each word spoken felt like a thread pulling her deeper into the tapestry of her new home, yet there remained a lingering sense of wonder, a quest for answers that had yet to be fulfilled. As the evening unfolded, the chatter turned to the mysterious bells that had once guided her and her brother to Woolpit. Whispers filled the room, their tones tinged with curiosity. "What do you think those bells were?" a young boy asked, his eyes wide with innocent wonder. "Do you think they still ring somewhere, calling to lost souls?" The girl's heart stirred at the question, a soft sigh escaping her lips. She had often wondered the same, the distant chimes of the bells echoing in her mind like a haunting lullaby. "Perhaps," she began, her voice gentle and thoughtful, "they are a reminder of the paths we walk, guiding us to where we need to be." The villagers nodded, captivated by her words, as if she were weaving a spell over them, wrapping them in a shared sense of purpose. "Maybe they call to those who have lost their way," she continued, "offering hope to those who dare to listen." As she spoke, the flickering firelight cast playful shadows across the room, illuminating the faces of her friends and neighbors, each one reflecting the warmth of the community they had built together. The memories of her brother, now a ghostly presence in her heart, danced alongside her words, urging her to honor the bond they had shared. She had come to accept his loss, yet the yearning to understand their origins remained, a quiet undercurrent that pulsed through her very being. "Maybe we should seek the source of those bells," an elder suggested, his voice rich with enthusiasm. "Perhaps there lies a hidden path that connects our worlds, a way to uncover the truth of the green children." The room buzzed with excitement, the idea sparking a flicker of hope in the air. The girl felt her heart quicken, the prospect of discovery igniting a flame within her. What if the bells were not merely echoes of the past, but a bridge to the future? As the villagers gathered around her, their faces glowing with anticipation, she felt a surge of gratitude for the kindness they had shown her. Woolpit had become her home, a sanctuary where she had learned to embrace the beauty of life. Yet the call of St. Martin's Land still resonated deep within her. The thought of combining both worlds, of honoring her past while forging a new path, filled her with a sense of purpose. "Let us follow the echoes of those bells," she declared, her voice steady and resolute. "Together, we can uncover the mysteries of our hearts and seek the truth that lies beyond." The villagers cheered, their laughter ringing out like the distant peal of bells, filling the room with warmth and camaraderie. In that moment, the boundaries of their worlds blurred, the stories of the green children intertwining with the tales of Woolpit, creating a rich tapestry of hope and connection. As the night deepened, they began to plan their journey, the villagers' excitement weaving through the air like the soft notes of a lullaby, inviting dreams of adventure and discovery. The girl felt a sense of belonging that wrapped around her like the comforting embrace of the hearth. In the stillness of the night, she knew they would embark on a quest that could reveal the answers she had long sought, the answers that lay hidden within the depths of the wolf pit and the echoes of a twilight land. And as the stars twinkled above, the bells seemed to whisper in the breeze, a tender reminder that the journey was just beginning, a journey that would lead them into the heart of mystery and wonder, where the past and present danced together under the watchful gaze of the moon. The echoes of the green children would guide them, and the story of Woolpit would continue to unfold, a gentle lullaby that cradled them in dreams of possibility, forever intertwined with the magic of the unknown.